Naira rates gap narrows as dollar demand drops. Stock market investors gained 1.7 trillion naira in 5 days. Plus, oil rises by 1% as Saudi Arabia, Russia stick to cuts. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Let's bring you up to speed with business development. President Bola Tinubu will embark on another international drive to attract more foreign direct investment into Nigeria as he is scheduled to depart for Saudi Arabia this week. The president is to attend the Saudi Africa and Arab Africa summits in Riyadh. Presidential advisor on media and publicity, Nigerian, who briefed State House correspondents on the forthcoming trip, said President Tinubu will be attending the Saudi Africa summit on the 10th of November, where issues of counterterrorism, environment, agriculture, and many other areas of mutual concern will be discussed toward accelerating the trade volume between Saudi Arabia and Africa. He will also participate in the Arab Africa summits the following day.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his capacity not just as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but also as the Chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of Government, will be taking part in the summit, ensuring that he is at the forefront of advocating for really a deepening partnership of the two regions, that is the League of Arab Nations as well as the African Union, with respect to how we can integrate in terms of our infrastructure, how we can facilitate the establishment of a new high-speed train network that would tie Arab nations from the Middle East to Northern Africa to the rest of the African continent. Certainly, His Excellency, Mr. President, is passionate about any area in which we can really leverage on the massive population and market that not just Africa presents, but that Nigeria itself presents.
Now, data and the continuous advocacy and dialogue in Nigeria's economic space shows the female gender is at more risk in issues of health and disadvantage in trade. This is why the Policy Innovation Center of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group is driving the conversation for an all-inclusive developmental program for all Nigerians devoid of gender, ability, and geographical location.
If credits came into their town, they will be exempted by the fact that the mailman in the house is the one that decided he will have the bank account. If they wanted to access credit using land, some communities have exempted them from ownership of land as collateral, so they don't have land by exemption for social norm, but they now need that land as collateral for credit, and they've now been exempted for credit that they could have had. So the dynamics is a little bit more than let's shout in the marketplace enough about it and it will solve itself. No, we must enter the matter.
And we're talking about a period in our country where we need to have very clear conversations about ensuring that our conversations around trade, empowerment, financial inclusion is gender responsive, and we're able to walk through all these strategies to begin to think about advancing a gender inclusive society. And why have we decided to also bring that conversation about health? To ensure that we're also bridging the gap that is needed to ensure that Nigeria as a country has a healthy, productive workforce that can advance our indices and ensure that we're driving towards sustainable development.
Now, the exchange rate gap between the official and parallel segments of the foreign exchange market narrowed by more than half in 1 week amid a decline in the demand for dollars. The exchange rate spread narrowed to 226 naira 72 kobo per dollar on Friday from 494. The naira strengthened against the dollar on the black market to 1,020 naira to a dollar compared to a low of 1,310 naira to a dollar the previous week. It, however, depreciated on the official market to 793 naira 28 kobo to a dollar on Thursday, as against 786 naira 2 kobo to a dollar the preceding day. Now, the banking industry in Nigeria has witnessed tremendous changes between 1959, when the legislation setting up the Central Bank of Nigeria came into effect, to this moment. It is from cowries to cashless, with strategic reforms in between. On the conversation today, we will be taking a look at continuous efforts towards growing the nation's financial system, with emphasis on the cashless policy. Princess Ife is our guest, and she is an author, publisher, and media practitioner of more than 3 decades, engaging and giving valuable services on how to leverage brands in the marketplace. You're welcome to Business Express. Okay, let's delve into the conversation. How would you capture in few words the 65-year journey of the nation's apex bank from cowries to cashless?
It's been quite a wonderful journey, because from the inception, it's been commodity market. It's been bulky all this while, and it's not been fantastic, but due to development in the entire polity, you find out that we have moved from where we used to be. I mean, the central banking and Central Bank of Nigeria in particular has moved from where it used to be from 1958 to 2023. So it's been a journey, and it's been quite some reforms, some issues, yes, they encounter, because life in itself is challenging. So, but what matters so much is when you go through challenges, your ability and the capacity to overcome it is what matters. And then they're telling good stories, and there are people that have really helped all this story, you know, to make it happen for Nigeria. And this we have tagged icons, and they have done so well in the industry, banking industry, and central banking in itself. So it's been quite this and that. But there are issues, and these issues we are surmounting because of the global economy that is going, emerging economic development. We are moving from the card money and all that to now a cashless state. So you find out that we are looking at the future of money. That's the focus of the whole lot. So what is future of money? Future of money is digital. And the way you talk about being digital, it means we have to talk about the infrastructure concerning the telecoms and all that, regulators of both the financial aspect of it and the infrastructure aspect, where NCC comes in and all that. So that's what we're talking about. You know,
well, it's actually a long journey, but how much have you appreciated the transformation, the evolution to what we have today?
Yes, the evolution has been really, really great. For me, as a person, they have done well. But in as much as they have done well, there's still room for improvement. And that's where we have said, hey, you are not doing right here, but you are doing excellently here.
But the Naira is not doing well.
Well, yeah, it's a global stuff. It's not just Naira alone.
Okay.
So, but we are bracing up to it. And then, you know, a few minutes ago, you talked about the dollar, you know, having a kind of nose diving. So we know we'll get at it. Definitely we'll get at it. All we need is to have the resolve to work as a team, and then we'll get there. Nigeria, that indomitable spirit in us will always take us through, and then we'll be excelling. Thank you.
Now you're more of media practitioner than a
Yes.
financial expert.
Yes,
But
I
I
am.
understand that you have you have a kind of collection, or you've collected 65 years journey in words and pictures for research and other purposes. What is the motivation for this?
Yeah, the motivation, because I am a deep believer in this nation. I believe that Nigeria is great and is green. And if it's green and great, then we all have to really dance according to it. We don't have to have people that will go out of it, okay? So I believe by telling the story of central banking, you'll be able to now say, this is where we were, and this is where we are, and this is where we're going. And if you know where we are going, then you know it. So you know the history of yesterday, because it's all about the choices you make. If you make the right choices today, definitely you will be somewhere tomorrow. All right? I believe as a nation, we've come a long way. God has helped us in this great nation. And all we need to do is to have it done, and done well. If we have all the infrastructure put well, or some of the infrastructure, not all of them, we will get somewhere. For instance, Nigeria is the first to have a CBDC.
Yeah.
Apart from that, so you find out that it's a milestone, and they have done so well. That's it.
Well, how do you think this can really help grow the economy?
What will grow the economy?
How do you think this transformation that we witnessed over the years, and you've collected it in pictures and words, how do you think this can really help grow the economy?
Yes, when the policymakers go to it and know the story, find out what needed to be done, because of the problems we brought out there, that look, if you go in here, you find these challenges at it, and then we also preferred reasons and ways to really surmount it. By the time you do this, you find that you'll be walking in the place, and then walking rightly too, not just blindly, because you have a roadmap to it, and everybody will now have everybody will align properly and then move on to the goal. And I think that's what we need. And by the time we have financial inclusion, we have literacy, or financial literacy, like the woman on the street will know that why I don't do this, why I should do that. You find that everybody, it will definitely run off. That's economically, and then development will come on. So the money we use in printing these pounds, printing naira and all that, we'll have less of it, and we'll have less of cyber crimes and all that. Though I have some challenges there, talking about the cyber crimes and all that, because with a touch of button, hell, the money you have there will just go. But however, by the time they have a synergy between the two regulators, the central bank and the NCC telecom regulator, you find that we'll have a centerpiece, and then we move towards it, and then we have what we have been looking for, carrying everybody along and having a cashless and digital economy in Nigeria.
And then all this, how far do you see Nigeria going in the financial and digital economy space, considering visible challenges of broadband penetration?
Please, can I come again?
How far do you see Nigeria going in the financial and digital economy space?
Yes, we are trying, as long as we now move on. For instance, the NCC launched the 5G network, and then, bringing everybody on board. And by the time you really convince people why they should lash into it and then move on, you find out we will really, come on board, and everybody will align properly, like I said, and then we will be national.
Okay, and what's your opinion on the way to go in tackling Nigeria's forex crisis? Any opinion?
I reserve. I think I will say no comment for that.
Okay, and then on the cowries to cashless as a document is to be unveiled tomorrow, I understand. What more should we expect from projects like the Girls in ICT Connect Live?
Yeah, we'll be having more of Girls in ICT Connect Live here in Abuja. But before that, we will have all that program, not just for the Girls in ICT Connect Live. We also have for the teenagers, because they are the youths. And if they have the strength and energy, if we invest in them, definitely we are investing in our tomorrow as a nation. And any nation that runs with the youth, like what we have, definitely will get somewhere in the that's the upper echelon of the whole lot in this.
Well, it seems like Nigeria has a great future ahead
Yes,
of her.
they have.
Well, thank you very much, Princess Ife. Thank you for sharing your thought with us.
Thank you so much.
Moving on, the House of Representatives Committee on Host Communities is calling on the Central Bank of Nigeria to, as a matter of urgency, release to host communities the approved 27.6 billion naira estimated funds generated from gas flaring penalties in compliance with the Petroleum Industry Act. This was during a hearing with some of the traditional rulers from the affected communities. Muhammad Rabiu Aliu reports.
The issue of gas flaring has been a source of concern to the people of the Niger Delta region as it affects their livelihood. Successive administrations have made concerted efforts to assessing the impact and support the affected areas with funds generated from the gas flaring penalties. This hearing is a first interface between the committee and the host communities. They resolve to work closely in the interest of the region and triumph over issues relating to the rights as approved by the federal government.
In addition to the administration of the PIA, there are some referrals pending before the committee in favor of the host community. We are of the belief that this and more set a base for the common good of the host communities.
A week before Buhari left office, we met with him. I have the picture, everything here I'm going to submit. And he asked Malami to approve something. He set up a committee. 27.6 billion was approved a week before Buhari left office. And I'm happy that this committee capitalized on that.
The gas flare Nigeria staying will be there, we'll all die. Our children will come up. We're not delaying.
Worried by the leadership tussle of the host communities on how to yield a better result to the social justice cause, the committee resolves to embark on a fact-finding visit to ascertain areas genuinely affected by the problem. From the National Assembly, Muhammad Rabiu Ali.
Oil prices rose on Monday after top exporters Saudi Arabia and Russia reaffirmed their commitment to extra voluntary oil supply cuts until the end of the year. Brent crude futures rose $1.03 to $85.92 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $81.58 a barrel, up $1.07. Oil rebounded after Brent and WTI futures each lost around 6% in the week to November 3rd. Let's now see prices of other commodities. Now, the recent influx of foreign investors into Nasarawa State to exploit lithium has further boosted the mining sector, reaffirming the status of Nasarawa State as one of leading solid minerals endowed states in Nigeria. Aliu Tijani takes a look at the new investment drive for the mining sector in the state.
Nasarawa, standing tall on the list of solid mineral endowed states and often referred to as the home of solid minerals. But stakeholders say not much is achieved over the years. Now, there is a new drive by the government to maximize the abundance of solid minerals in the state, as both federal and state government are on the same page that all solid minerals exploited be processed in the country.
I want to call on all our investors. No other company will be given a license until that company will at least carry out first set processing of the mineral here.
The policy is yielding result, with the first lithium processing plant currently under construction in Nasarawa local government area to mine and process large quantities of the mineral deposited in the state, with more foreign investors willing to do business in the mining sector in the state. However, activities of illegal miners remain a challenge, but there is a synergy between federal and Nasarawa state government to coordinate the informal sector in order to block leakages in revenue collection as well as regulate their activities in compliance with the environmental laws.
When you profile them, you put them under cooperatives, you give them funding so that you improve what they are doing. With that, they're going to check insecurity.
With reforms underway, mining sites like this will have prospect of land reclamation as investors are expected to present plan before going into mining. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani.
Thank you, Aliu Tijani. Succor has come the way of victims of the flood-ravaged Isheri community in Ifo local government area of Ogun State as the federal government commences distribution of relief materials to them. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, who performed the symbolic flag-off ceremony, reiterates federal government's determination to ameliorate the plight of citizens. Hakim Jimo reports.
The recent flood that ravaged the Isheri community in Ifo local government area of Ogun State rendered many homeless, with 4 lives lost.
We want it to go on record that in Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's time, the flooding that has been threatening us yearly is put to an end.
To cushion the effect of the natural disaster on the people, the federal government commenced distribution of relief materials to the affected residents. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, assures that the federal government will work out solution to the perennial flooding in Isheri community.
What we want to quickly support them to do is to provide livelihood for them. Those who lost their businesses as a result of the flood. Part of these solutions, of course, would include buffer dams, rechanneling of this water, and creating of altogether new channels that can help prevent this kind of flooding.
The minister was also at Ogun State Government House, where Governor Dapo Abiodun commended the federal government for the various intervention programs in the state.
Again, I want to thank you for mentioning to us the other programs. I'm aware that we have a program that is meant for our poor, our elderly, our vulnerable.
The delegation also embarked on facility tour of Kenta at the Kampala markets at Itoku and Ashiro in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. In Abeokuta, Hakim Jimo.
Now let's head to the capital market. The stock market closed last week on a positive note as investors smile home with 1.7 trillion naira. Bosede Abel has more on how the stocks fared in the week ended November 3rd.
The NGX All-Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 4.56% and 4.53% to close the week at 70,196.77 basis points and 38.5 trillion naira at a turnover of 2.4 billion shares worth 40.5 billion naira in 37,959 deals were traded in the week by investors on the floor of the exchange. All other indices finished higher, while the NGX ASM and NGX oil and gas indices closed flat. The financial services industry led the activity chart with 1.4 billion shares valued at 21.1 billion naira traded in 16,671 deals. The oil and gas industry followed with 354.9 million shares worth 1.2 billion naira in 2,917 deals. The third place was the ICT industry with a turnover of 175.2 million shares worth 8.2 billion, trading in the top 3 equities: Japo Gold and Ventures, United Bank for Africa, and Fidelity Bank. They jointly accounted for 835.5 million shares worth 8.6 billion naira in 5,514 deals. A total of 33,049 units of federal government bonds valued at 30.9 million naira were traded in the week in 42 deals. A total of 33,418 units of exchange traded products valued at 2.9 million were traded in the week in 117 deals. 63 equities appreciated in price during the week. 29 equities depreciated in price, while 64 equities remained unchanged. Bossede Able, Business Express.
Well, let's now join Bossede, who's standing by with global market updates. Bossede, give us a picture of what is happening in the stock market globally.
It's all right, Musa. Hello and welcome to the global market segment. European markets were mixed on Monday as positive momentum from last week strutted. DAX lost 0.23%, FTSE 0.11%, and CAC 40 of France also dipped 0.38%. South Korea stocks surged on Monday after the country reimposed a ban on short selling, while most Asia's markets took heart from a soft U.S. job report that helped reduce the interest rate expectations. Japan's Nikkei 225 gained 2.37% at 32,708.48. The Shanghai Composite topped 0.91% across 3,058.41. And the Hang Seng Index also rose 1.71% at 17,966.57. U.S. equity futures were slightly higher on Monday after the major averages capped their best week of the year. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average is positive at 758 points. S&P 500 0.18%, and Nasdaq Composite also top 0.25%. For Africa, South Africa's GSE Africa Top 40 and Namibia closed positive. Ghana is marginally positive, while Tunisia closed 0.12% across 8,408.87. That's the global market review. Back to you, Musa.
What a mixed sentiment there, Bossede. Thank you. Well, this is where we end this edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. I'm Musa Abubakar. Thanks for your company.